you're effectively ruling out millions of people in Africa from being able to participate legitimately in the sale of their produce.
Today's global order is not working for everyone. In fact, it's not working for anyone. The recent decision of the Security Council to support African Union-led peace-enforcing and counter-terrorism operations is an important step in the right direction.
But you can't work good for the planet and do bad for the people.
Today's global financial architecture, based on frameworks agreed nearly 8 years ago, is outdated, dysfunctional, and unfair.
So you ask yourself, how is it not happening? Well, geopolitics, domestic politics, and a failure simply to act.
We'll consider the need for deep reforms to make these institutions and frameworks truly universal and inclusive and based in the rule of law. This is essential to create a global economy that works for everyone, everywhere. Let's seize the opportunity, and I thank you.
Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, simply has just thrown the world for another loop. She's good at doing this because what she's done in the past is she's taking a subject that many of the world leaders would have her speak on because she is so affluential with her words. And she takes a subject from what really wasn't the subject matter. She takes a subject from way afar and she pulls it in to the subject that they're talking about now. And then she makes it fit to where, okay, well, we're talking about this problem, but that problem revolves around this. And she brings things into a uniformed order. And a lot of world leaders just don't like it because she's so forthright. However, with this speech, and with a lot of speeches that we do here, we learn so much. We learn so much when we get more information, and I hope that you all enjoy this. Please like and subscribe, and as you watch this speech, I encourage everybody here to please comment down below and let me know what you think about it, and we'll go over it at the end. Once again, I want to thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe. One love. Grab a drink.
And I'd like to welcome Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados. Thank you very much for joining us for the second time, please. I would like also to welcome Nana Akufo-Addo, the President of Ghana, who is a regular, and thank you very much for again joining us here in Munich, Mr. President. And then for the first time, also for the first time in the MSC, Mia Mottley, thank you very much for joining us here again. You are one of the greatest advocates for reforming global governance. Thank you for joining us. Can you dwell a bit on what the Secretary General already touched upon, and that is, how do we fix the international financial institutions that they tackle the most challenging, most urgent challenges like climate change? And how do we make sure that they really benefit the countries that are most affected, even the smallest one?
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the award this year. I take it not for myself, but really as an example of those of us who have tried to create a voice where none has existed. And that's exactly what is needed in the multilateral system, to be able to allow for voices to be heard and people to be seen. I think that the Secretary General's comments have been continuous, forthright. So you ask yourself, how is it not happening? Well, geopolitics, domestic politics, and a failure simply to act. There is no more knowledge that is needed to be able to allow decisions to be made. And the question is, therefore, why aren't we getting the decisions taken that will make the difference to people's lives, that will make the difference to us being able to save the planet? And some of it is not even always with malice, but some of it is just benign. Take the European Union deforestation regulations. I don't think that anyone, when those regulations were settled, intended to be able to harm anyone. But the reality is that because of the complex nature of bureaucracy that is involved in it and the links to smartphones, etc., you're effectively ruling out millions of people in Africa from being able to participate legitimately in the sale of their produce. And that this therefore means that the business that would have been occasioned for them as a result of large multinational corporations will go elsewhere. Now, the Chancellor of this country stood out last year when he indicated very boldly that we have to change the economic construct that saw the extraction of commodities without value from particularly the global south. But it can't be the voice of one or two in speeches or conferences such as this. And what the global system misses is an effective mechanism for decision making. You talk about climate finance, but it's not just climate finance. I've said over and over, it's a whole range of global public goods. Because take, for example, with respect to the European Union deforestation regulation, it's intended to be able to help save the planet. But you can't work good for the planet and do bad for the people. Because at the end of the day, if the people can't live, and the people can't have peace, and the people can't have prosperity, then you have a barren planet. So that I think that something is fundamentally wrong with a system that does not provide for an occasion. The UN definitely gives us the opportunity to talk, but we have to find an executive framework that allows decisions to be taken in a more timely manner. And why? The Secretary General pointed out this afternoon, the climate crisis is not waiting on us, even as we solve the problems of Palestine and Israel, of Haiti, of Africa, with respect to the disruptions in sub-Saharan Africa within the last few years. Equally, unbridled and unregulated artificial intelligence is not waiting for somebody to stop it from going, and it's continuing to literally inform how businesses do business and products that they develop. We cannot afford the luxury anymore of a failure of regulation and a failure of decision making. And too much, regrettably, is as a result of geopolitics and as a result of domestic politics. And by the time we wake up and are ready to do it, the consequences may be too far and for us to bring back.
Thank you for this so clear demand for effective mechanisms. President Akufo-Addo, we are very grateful that again you come here.
We're gonna skip Nana Akufo-Addo because he's like, I don't know, is he still relevant anywhere? I hope not. The puppet master. Anyway, let me know what you think about that.
Thank
I
you.
wonder if I can come in here because the Secretary General has made a very relevant point about keeping communications simple. For the longest time, we have been arguing through the Bridgetown Initiative and others that let's take debt. We just heard about the explosion of the problem of debt around developing countries like a millstone because of the pandemic, because of the increased prices coming after the Ukraine war. But yet, the international financial institutions will want you to go on a debt trajectory that says that your debt sustainability should be anchored 60% debt to GDP. When in truth and in fact, every country in Europe is now, I think, on or about 90%. And the only reason you probably haven't changed it is because of the difficulty in how you change a treaty. What this means is that countries like ours are kept on a trajectory that does not allow us to make the investments that are necessary to boost education, to boost healthcare, to reduce the chances of social implosion and the lack of security that will take more than a generation to recover from. And yet, what it requires is just simply people speaking and agreeing to new metrics at the level of the international financial institutions. Let's take insurance. the biggest problem that the world is not looking at, in my view, with respect to the climate crisis, is how the climate crisis is going to make the microeconomy effectively dysfunctional, and how it's going to be difficult for homeowners to be able to get insurance in certain districts in the world. Insurance was meant to manage risk, but when risk now becomes certain, what's happening in California with wildfires, what's happening in Florida and Virginia Beach is only a microcosm of what will happen in the Caribbean. But at least in the States, in the United States of America, they can move to a different state. Tell me where in the Caribbean they're going to move to as a sovereign country. When Montserrat, with the volcanic eruptions, effectively had to take people out, people had to go to the UK, and when they went to the UK, they did not even have equal rights and status as people who were born in Britain. So this world has to confront the fact that the climate crisis is going to make certain regions uninvestable, and if they become uninsurable, they're going to become uninvestable. And therefore, we're going to start to be able to see climate migration and more insecurity in a way that we have not bargained for, and especially in neighborhoods that are frightened for migration.
Anyway, let me know what you think about what she had just said. I mean, is it really the case where climate change has in some way been put above humans, above people and their lifestyles and how they're going to live? And has Africa gotten a raw shake, as she was saying? Your loans should be a country should be able to take loans from its GDP of 90%. They can do it in Europe, they can do it in America, but why can't they do that in Africa? That would be a game changer, and I think that she's onto something. What do you think? Please let me know in the comments below, like, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. One love.